If they remove subsidy, they will share the money. They have already shared it before collecting it. They said over 400 billion will go to Jonathan's government. Over 400 billion will go to state government. Over 200 billion will go to local government. They have already spent the money before they earn it. They are just fooling Colade to come and supervise an empty collection. It's not going to work. It didn't work before. It's not working now. It's not going to work tomorrow. Great Nigerian people!
Here to use our mouth and our presence to register our displeasure in the way we are being governed. Oil subsidy is not only the matter. The matter is good governance.
When God created the heaven and earth, He said, "Let there be light." Is there light in Nigeria?
No force on earth can stop this revolution.
Governor of the Central Bank, Sanusi, came to Lagos and said, if you don't remove fuel subsidy, Nigeria will collapse. This country is not going to collapse. Those who are going to collapse are those who are cheating the Nigerian people.
When my father was fighting, I was 13 years old. I am 50 in 6 months. My son is 16. We still have no electricity. We still have no health care. People are poor. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people. Who are the people of Nigeria?
And like I said, when I gave my Demosthenic rank, I did say that all the ratiocinations, all the adumbration, all the pedagogical effusion that has been put forward by imperialist economics and petty bourgeoisie of the Jonathan administration are for theory. Suppose the reason why subsidy from fuel must not be removed. Why will you pass the corruption by a cabal to the ragtag and the bobtail? When you do that, then you have torpedoed democracy and you have enthroned what I call cabalocracy. Which is the government of the cabals, by the cabals, and for the cabals.
I want to understand what the Nigerian economists and the members of the government, their definition of that they are subsidizing Nigerians from the oil they are buying. Who is subsidizing who? The Nigerian oil industry, petroleum industry, was developed with Nigerian capital. In fact, most of the expertise are Nigerians. If you go into the field, it's Nigerian capital, it's Nigerian oil. What I understand Nigeria should charge Nigerians is the cost of 1 barrel at the wellhead, and then the cost of transportation to the refinery, the cost of refining it, and its cost at the pump. If anybody said he is subsidizing anything, he is a fraud. So all these people talking about subsidy, who is subsidizing?
And that was in 2015. Fast forward.
Frankly, I think it should be almost a national consensus now for us to do away with subsidy. Because in the end, who are the people that benefit from subsidy? In fact, in this country, we're talking about subsidy thieves at some point. The people that benefit from subsidy are those subsidy thieves. And now if you move away from the subsidy thieves...
Yes, I don't bring it to my house.
Okay, you take it to your house?
No, I don't want to bring it to my house. It's a lot of money.
Yes. So where? Because I am rushing to the airport now.
Yeah, they're at the airport in the aircraft.
And before they can come over now, unless I send somebody to the airport, I was coming. I can't. By the time they come, I should be in the chambers. I have a lot of things to do myself.
Is there anybody you trust I can give it to, or maybe I should postpone my China till tomorrow?
No, it's okay. I would arrange with someone. Let me give you his number.
The issue of subsidy removal in Nigeria has been a long-standing debate. And what is this subsidy? A subsidy is a payment given by government to individuals or businesses. It is designed to offset costs and to advance a specific public goal. To juxtapose these videos, this is where I get to say, internet is a great keeper of memories. Be careful what you say today, as it may come back to haunt you. And never say never. Welcome to my channel, Sheni's Digest. I welcome on board my new subscribers, while I appreciate my returning subscribers. This is the channel where we get to speak out and say it as it is. Do you think Mr. President, Mr. Femi Falana-san, Femi Dorotoye and Femi Kuti and the rest should apologize to Nigerians as most people think they should? Do you think so? Do you think they should apologize to Nigeria that they misled Nigerians? Take a listen.
When they went for Godjota, where are those people now, including this president? He went on road and he said if anybody is talking about subsidy, it is a fraud. I'm quoting him. If Mr. President, we have to prostrate to Nigerians and say, Nigeria, I apologize. I told you when I was campaigning that there was no subsidy, that it was corruption. I now find out that it is true. The arithmetics, the econometrics of it all is that there is subsidy and we cannot continue this way.
Fuel subsidy removal and its unending controversy. Why is it that whenever we hear fuel subsidy removal, our hearts are literally in a mouth? This is simply so because fuel subsidy removal is tantamount to a high pump price of fuel and its multiplier effect on other essential goods and services. So it is no good news that whenever government tries to tinker with the idea of removing the subsidy on fuel, no matter how hard it tries to sell to us the justifiable reason for such removal. Historically, the price of the premium motor spirit known as petrol has never been stable in Nigeria. Its price has always been swinging like a pendulum, more upwardly reviewed price than downward. It will shock you to know that the price of fuel has gone from 6 kobo per litre in 1973 to 172 naira per litre in 2021. From 1973, during General Yakubu Gowon as military head of state, he had increased the fuel price from 6 kobo to 8.45 kobo. And that's an increase of 40.83%. And the fuel price had moved from 8.45 kobo to 9 kobo in 1976 during the reign of General Murtala Muhammad and Olusegun Obasanjo, representing an increase of 6.5%. And when General Olusegun Obasanjo took over the reins of leadership after the assassination of his boss, he rewarded Nigerians with a further increase of the product from 9 kobo to 15.3 kobo, representing an increase of 70% in 1978. Interestingly, all the heads of government, be it military or civilian, including the interim president, Chief Ernest Shoneko, all indulged in the romance of fuel price increase, except one president, President Umaru Yar'Adua, who would rather reduce the pump price from 75 naira per litre to 65 naira. And today we are paying for the premium motor spirit, PMS, otherwise known as petrol, between 165 naira to 172 naira. Now wait a minute. Why was the increase in global oil price? I mean, if the price of Nigerian crude is now selling for $83 per barrel, caused the pump price of fuel here in Nigeria to increase. Crude oil is a finite resource and could run short of supply. That is how much oil is available for sale when there is an upsurge in demand. So the laws of demand and supply would naturally cause the oil price to change. When supply exceeds demand, the prices will fall. The inverse is also true when demand outpaces supply. Like during the COVID-19 period when there was a total global lockdown as government closed businesses and restricted travels. Supply at that point exceeded demand, thereby forcing down the global oil price and by extension, the pump price. Remember, the pump price of fuel as at that time was reduced from 145 naira to 125 naira, when the price of crude oil then dropped as low as $22 per barrel. It simply means that the higher the global oil price, the higher we pay for petrol, and vice versa. So there is that positive relationship between the international oil price and the price we pay at the petrol stations. And this is attributed to oil price rally. And that is a sudden increase in the global oil prices due to an upsurge in demand for crude oil without a corresponding increase in supply. So this is how the increase in global oil prices affects how much we pay at the petrol stations. And now the real issue. And do you think the reason given for the persistent fuel price increase over the years is lame, asinine, or justifiable? We will mention just a few of them and then focus on the fuel subsidy removal, which, as a matter of fact, is the crux of this video. That as government revenue continues to dwindle, government and some economic experts believe that subsidy removal is the right thing to do and it's the way to go. And to ameliorate the immediate effect of the removal of subsidy, that 40 million poorest of the poor Nigerians will be given a monthly stipend of 5,000 naira for a period of 6 months. And I ask, in a country where there is no accurate data for Nigerians, how did government arrive at, getting data for the poorest of the poor Nigerians? In my measured opinion, I think the 5,000 stipend for the poorest of the poor Nigerians is a wrong-headed approach by government. It's like the government is trying to pacify Nigerians so that they don't hit the streets in protest, which to me, I see it as a bribe. And this is why it doesn't make sense. Because it appears to me, at one hand, you're trying to save money by removing the subsidy so that the price will be market-driven, so that it can save up these funds and invest in critical infrastructure. And at the other hand, you still want to pay the poorest of the poor Nigerians 5,000 naira monthly stipend for a period of 6 months. So if government is paying approximately 3 trillion naira for subsidy in a year, which is about 20% of the national budget and about 50% of fiscal deficits, they are trying to insult our intelligence that the current fuel price regime only favors the Nigerian big man who has fleet of cars, and that the poor people do not benefit from the product as government continues to subsidize the product. That it makes economic sense for the market to be allowed to dictate the price of fuel, what they call market-driven price or cost-reflective price. That it doesn't make sense to sell the product to Nigerians lower than the cost of importing these products to the country. That is the argument of government, which they say is a distorted practice. This argument is as lame as asinine. So Nigerians should pay for inefficiency. When the refineries cannot be fixed, you export your crude and then import the refined product and pass on all the associated costs on Nigerians. Because I certainly do not understand the logic that Nigerians are paying low for petrol pump price, when indeed Nigeria is not only Africa's largest producer of oil, but was also ranked as the 6th largest oil producing country in the world for many years before dropping to the 11th position in 2021 after Iran. So why can't we enjoy the lower pump price in the form of subsidy for a product we have in abundance? For example, the United States has been subsidizing agricultural products, corn, wheat, and cotton for many years, spending as much as $30 billion annually. So why can't Nigeria enjoy a lower petrol price for a product that seems to be the kickstarter for everything? For example, as government has failed to provide electricity for its citizens, the only alternative left for the citizen is to generate their own external power supply, and the only thing they can use in doing that is getting fuel to power their generators. Why compare the prices? Why can't the citizens enjoy this black gold that God has, blessed us with? Why compare the price of petrol that we pay here to what is obtainable in the neighboring countries? Because I don't understand the comparison. Are these neighboring countries the largest Africa's producer of oil. So why the comparison? It's not only asinine, but they are trying to insult our intelligence by obfuscating the real issues, which is their incompetence, their inability to protect our borders, which is the primary responsibility of government. So now that the government has failed in protecting our borders, so the citizens will have to be made to pay for a high pump price. So why can't the government fix the 4 refineries where our crude can be refined and sold at a cheaper price to Nigerians? It's really a wonder to me that these moribund refineries continue to gob billions of naira for turnaround maintenance without really turning around. As an economist myself, I do believe market-driven price will make the product more competitive and cost-reflective in order to stimulate investments and encourage more players to come into the industry, thereby forcing down the price. I strongly share in that belief. But this can only happen in an economy where distortions can be mitigated, and the regulatory authorities can create the enabling environment for the laws of demand and supply to have a seamless interplay. Of course, we know in Nigeria there are deliberate distortions just so a few can enrich themselves, and this will definitely prevent the market forces from functioning at its optimum level. And this is the big issue. And if this market determined price for fuel is 340 naira per litre, which is about 106% increase, then the question is, how can government control the impact of the price increase in terms of how much transporters charge commuters that will be proportionate to the 106% increase? And trust Nigerian transporters, their increase will be way more than 106%. And since there is no alternative to petrol, civil servants, students, and in fact the masses will be forced to bear the burden of this disproportionate increase. And the impact of this hardship on Nigerians will be huge. So the argument that if government removes the fuel subsidy, the market will then determine the price of fuel is nothing but a plausible argument theoretically. This is certainly not the first time government has, given this excuse. It happened in 2016 when government partially removed the fuel subsidy. They was going to use the money to invest in critical infrastructure such as road construction, transportation, health, school, and other public sector investments. Yet her roads have continued to remain a death trap for many, many years.
We want to know who is the actual contractor that this road is awarded to. Then we can now follow up from the contractors to the implementation of this road. We will not leave this road. We promise the government we are not going to leave this road of them. We hear from there is no amount of intimidation or harassment by any security agent that will make us to leave this road. By next year, by this time, we will make sure that we will shut down this road completely. Because they will not use this road in 2023 to do another campaign slogan. This road will not form another campaign slogan. This road. By next year, by this time, if this road is not constructed or completed up to 50%.
Even the hospitals have remained in a deplorable state. That patients are now called waiting dead, while coffin makers have now resorted to citing their businesses around the hospitals.
I thought the oil money must be providing decent healthcare for Nigerians, although coffins were on sale right outside the gates.
Why are these being sold across the road from the hospital?
Because if you have an emergency, it's a good chance you'll die, so you might as well buy it. Why go halfway across town?
Is that what you think? If you're in an emergency, there's a good chance you'll die? There's a good chance you'll be saved?
The question is, do you trust the government to invest this money in this critical infrastructure, especially at the period that the trust quotient between the people and the government is at its lowest ebb? Do you think that government should remove the subsidy and invest in critical infrastructure? Or you think subsidy should not be removed? That would be all for today. And thank you for finding the time to watch my video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. Strike on that notification bell so that you get to be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Leave your comment down below and let me know if indeed you support the removal of fuel subsidy to invest the money in other critical infrastructure, or that the subsidy should not be removed. And then do not forget to subscribe to this channel. While I come your way pretty soon, remain awesome. Peace out.